This election wasn't just Harris versus Trump, it was also a media war, sort of like old media versus new media. Let me explain this. Most newspapers and TV channels backed Kamala Harris, some of them openly endorsed her. You can call this the old media. On the other side, you had newer forms like social media or podcast. They were decisively in Donald Trump's corner. X and Elon Musk supported him, so did podcaster Joe Rogan. The question is, did this impact the election result? Let's take a closer look. The average age of cable news audience is 70 in America. Among newspaper readers, it is 60, the average age, and magazines, 52. What about podcasts? 34 years is the average age. So the trend is quite clear. Older Americans use newspapers and television, younger Americans use podcasts. Within this age group, men are a bigger share, and Trump realized this. Earlier this year, his campaign manager hired a 27-year-old consultant. His job? To make a list of podcasts for Trump to go on. Apparently, Trump wanted his son Barron to go through this list. And Barron is just 18 years old. He studies at New York University. So Trump wanted him, an 18-year-old, to vet the list. After that, it was a podcast blitz. Look at all the shows that he went on. The Nelk Boys podcast, Lex Friedman podcast, Bussin' with the Boys, Flagrant podcast, the Logan Paul podcast, the Theo Vaughn podcast, and finally, Joe Rogan. Together, these videos got 86 million views, and I'm only counting the full interviews. If you add shorter clips and snippets, it will be a lot more. And these are not like your regular TV interviews. The focus isn't on policy or politics. It's a freewheeling conversation. Trump talked about martial arts, about aliens, about the Kennedy assassination, about boxing, and about cryptocurrency. Issues that resonate with young American men. 2 weeks ago, he appeared on a podcast called 6 Feet Under, and guess who hosts it? WWE's Undertaker. I know it's a strategy that does not seem to make sense, but as the result shows, it did. The Trump campaign realized two things early on. One, young people watch podcasts. We're talking about people under 30. They make up 37% of the US population. If you want their vote, you need to reach out to them. And two, mainstream media isn't what it used to be. Trust in US media is at a historic low. Only 31% Americans trust these newspapers or channels. So Trump thought, why should I even speak to them? I would much rather speak to podcasters, and look at the results. In 2020, Biden beat Trump among men under 30 years of age, that too by 11%. But this time, Trump beat Harris by 2%. So clearly the outreach has worked. In his victory speech, Trump gave a shout out to podcasters. Listen to this.
I want to thank some of the, we have up here today the U.S. Open champion. He's a fantastic golfer, slightly longer than me. It's a little bit longer than me. Just a little bit. Bryson DeChambeau is up here someplace. And we also have Mandana White, who has done some job.
I want to thank some people real quick. I want to thank the Nelk Boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, Bussin' with the Boys, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan.
Again, Trump read the room well. You may remember the controversy around his 60 Minutes interview. Harris did take part in it, but Trump refused to. It was seen as some sort of blasphemous act. Though as it turned out, it was inconsequential. Harris too tried to get on the podcast train. She went on a show called Call Her Daddy. She was also reportedly considering an interview with Joe Rogan, but in the end it did not happen. Now, I know this sounds like a masterstroke by Donald Trump. You may think, well, this is the future. If you want to win, get on podcasts. But here's the problem. There are no filters on these conversations, no fact checks, no follow-up questions, and no red lines. You can basically say whatever you want and get away with it. In an ideal world, the audience would be careful. They would verify claims and fact-check big statements, but let's face it, very few people do it. So what's the solution? Well, the responsibility lies with each party. Politicians are free to go on podcasts, but they are not substitutes for a proper interview. They never will be. Secondly, the audience must be more careful. You have internet on your fingertips. Use it to verify facts. Just because someone has a podcast mic, it doesn't make them right. And finally, the media. American mainstream media is among the richest in the world. They have the resources, they have the talent pool. So why doesn't the public trust them? Clearly, something has gone wrong somewhere. You can't just blame Donald Trump for all of it and for capitalizing on this trend. He's a master of the media, whether it's cable or social media or now podcasts. Hello and welcome to this special edition of Vantage, live from the White House. America is Trump country again. He will be the 47th President of the United States of America. We're live from the White House, soon to be the new residence of Donald Trump. It was also here that Donald Trump brokered the Abraham Accords. So the voters have a legitimate question in their minds. If those presidents could do it, why not Joe Biden? The Arab voters want to punish the Democrats for supporting Israel. Joe Biden's shadow looms large over this election, and Kamala Harris may end up paying the price for it. This Trump hat, it says, President Trump save America. But this hat is made in China. And this is the Chinese interference that Americans must be investigating. But of late, Donald Trump and the Republicans have made some gains. And the biggest reason for that is illegal immigration. This is more than just a march, they say. This is a demand for accountability. The excitement, the tension is palpable. You can see the security presence. You can see the number of police cars, government buildings like these again fenced up. We are at Harvard University, the alma mater of Kamala Harris. As the night progressed, numbers came in thick and fast, and Donald Trump was soon declared the winner. It's being called a historic comeback. Another American presidency will begin. In Donald Trump's case, his second one.